Friendly Neighborhood PhD, and you're listening to the TyePod. Hi, everybody. It's another episode of the TyePod, and today I'm joined by Bryanna, who is a mom and a disability advocate. Yeah, and I've noticed some really cool videos that you've been posting on kind of your day-to-day life, and with your daughter and everything. So it's really great to have you on and talk a little bit about your experience.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to start off with kind of an icebreaker type question. But is there a song that's kind of been maybe a theme song for you, or maybe one that's current that really connects, to your experience with disability and being a mom and everything?
Wow, that's a good one. I listen to so I listen to so much, and
Yeah,
I guess my I don't know. Wow.
it's
Okay.
hard decision.
I mean, I guess if I would have to say like a genre,
Hmm.
yeah, if I would have to say like a genre, I would say like gospel music.
Okay.
But like I don't know. There's some other like people. I love JoJo.
Hmm.
Like there's people in between. I love Tori Kelly. Tori Kelly's another good one.
Oh yeah,
So
she's
like, and she's like kind of like well versed in like gospel and like pop. So
she's kind of crossed
yeah.
over between. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'd have to say those. Those would have to be it.
Yeah, definitely. I've been kind of looking at that myself and realizing if I ask that question to me, that's also a really hard choice. There's not just one thing that stands out. So I definitely get that. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to kind of dive in about if you want to just share kind of about you and a little bit of your story, and then we can, maybe go some more disability focused things. But if you want to just kind of give some highlights of you and, kind of where you're at with everything.
Yeah. So I am a bilateral amputee. I am a mom. My little munchkin. I was born without the fibia and the tibia since birth. So this is all I know. I actually had my daughter a year ago. And I just started working. I started my second master's in social work. So we're almost done. We'll be
Nice.
done in May. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I love just advocating for other people. I think there were so many people ahead of me that advocated for me to thrive how I am today.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I'm just definitely trying to pave the way for somebody else.
Right. No, I think that's so great, because obviously like you have your experience to share and bring to the table too. But what is your journey like into social work? Like, how is that going so far? And like, where do you see it kind of in the future?
So I mean, I at first I thought I wanted to do more private practice
Hmm.
work, but now I'm in doing like medical social work, and I really like the medical aspect of it. So I would like to see myself grow like within the medical field of
Yeah.
social work.
Well, that's a huge need, I think, and like from my experience, it's really hard to find somebody that resonates enough with with what I'm going through to know like what resources to point me to or like how to help. So definitely that's a huge thing. But what has your experience been with that? Like, have you worked with social workers or like in the medical side of things at all?
Yes, I mean, of course I've had social workers all throughout
Yeah,
my life,
yeah,
and some have been good, and some have been bad. No one said bad, but
but not.
they could be better.
Yeah,
Why
it's
I
it's
wanted to,
complicated, right?
yeah.
So was it something where you, like in your experience, did you have to basically figure like a lot of things out on your own from like knowing where to go and what information to use? Like what was that like for you?
I will say my mom, God rest her soul,
Yeah.
she was like my biggest advocate. She ensured that like I got everything I need. I mean, when it came to schooling, like I
Yeah.
was able to do everything that everybody else was. I mean, obviously it was not easy at all, and I think
Hmm.
she had to fight with a lot of people and um hit a couple walls, but
Yeah.
know the resources and know who to go to and where to go to like get the
Right.
information. Um, so I think that was a big thing just to see how hard she fought and how hard we have to fight to get what
Hmm.
we need to be treated like everyone else.
Absolutely. That's a thing that I feel like we're making tiny gains towards making things more accessible overall, but it's a slow moving battle, and in some sense I'm not sure if it's ever going to be totally, fixed, so to speak. But like, do you see improvements at all with accessibility from your experience, or what has it been
It's so
like
funny
going
because
through different school and everything?
I was just talking to somebody yesterday
Yeah.
randomly at the mall about this. I mean, I definitely see an improvement. I mean, I live in New York,
Mm,
so and Long Island at that. So compare Long Island compared to like the city, I think it's a little bit better depending on what area you're in.
yeah.
Um, but I definitely see an improvement. I mean, I think like the major thing is like the sidewalks and like the curb cuts, like they're all being replaced. And to me, that
Okay.
is great with the tactiles. It, that's just great
All of those
because
things. Yeah.
yeah, because it helps me in the end to pushing him on the sidewalk. I mean, even pushing out my daughter.
Yeah.
Um, so I think. there's small improvements. I mean, like doors. There's still so many doors that need to be have a, automatic button or just
Yep.
automatic doors. But I think it just kind of like depends where you are and like their accessibility need.
Right.
Um,
Right. And then like I think it's also kind of the willingness to try to make it more accessible, like there's still buildings that have push buttons put in the wrong place or,
yeah, yes.
who knows. But yeah, it's you're right, it depends where you are. And like I've been in kind of more rural areas and so, it's kind of hit or miss on those. But yeah. But did you grow up kind of in that area?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and it's interesting because as I like you said, like as you go into another rural area, or just
Mhm.
it's so different how like accessibility is treated for like each area
Right.
and like
Right.
what effort they put into making it accessible and like what effort they don't. Like for instance, like our public transportation, yeah, our buses are fine, but like in the city, you can take an accessible Uber. Where I'm at on Long Island, you can't take an
Not so
accessible Uber.
much. Right. Right. And rural areas are even more that way, I think. Like there's very little.
But yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, and then, like, finding caregivers and things like that, at times have been I've, like, barely scratched the surface with that, but, like, everyone I've talked to, that's finding anybody to do any kind of like, caregiving or help out or watch your baby or anything is tricky. But has it been that way for you too? Like, have you tried to, like, access resources like that?
so I don't have any like caregiver resources. But I feel like it's like my mom and my grandmother both had disabilities. They both needed a caregiver. And I just like I don't know. I feel like there's wherever I turn, there's always like some home aid company. So I mean I think there's always gonna be a need of people because you get some people that just don't want to work. So I think that the need is always gonna be there. But I just think like you can find someone, but
Right,
are they
right.
going to actually stay? Are they going to be consistent? Like,
Yeah, and then when it's hired, outside the home like that, there's no way to make sure it's
hmm
consistent or routine or that like how willing are they to, repeatedly show up and everything.
right.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And like you said, you had family, right? I mean, that support system is pretty much
It's key.
everything. Yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, I'm always thinking about, well, what if somebody doesn't have, a support system and they're totally reliant on, hiring
Yeah.
caregivers or things like that. Like I can't imagine what that would be like.
Right. No, I totally, I mean, even now, like, my mom passed and my dad is
Mm,
in Georgia. So it's like, it's just me here. I mean, I have my friends and I have some family, but not much family that's here. So it's kind of like figuring out friends, hiring people. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you can get somebody consistent, maybe not get somebody
right.
consistent. So, I mean, I think that part is the hard part. It can be hard, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm curious, like, if you want to share a little bit about your, the amputee situation. Like, I know you've had some like prosthetics. Is that something that's really recent, or what's that been like for you to get those?
so I mean, I've always had prosthetics. I mean,
Mm,
even growing up, I've had prosthetics. I gotten lazy. I would say
mm,
lazy over the years. And I haven't been using them more. So now I'm kind of like now that I have my daughter, like I want to be a little bit more mobile. So I've been trying to use them. It's definitely a
yeah.
challenge. I think it's anything like as you get older and you want to try something new, it can be harder. Like your body, like it just puts a lot on your body.
Right. I know what you mean.
So I think like that, and at that moment, like that toll of like restarting all over again.
Yeah.
But slow
Yeah.
progress. We're gonna get to it.
How have they like has the technology like gotten better with them? Are they more comfortable now than they were, or like what are some of the issues, with that?
So technology is better,
Yeah.
but it all depends on the insurance. I mean, I'm coming from like a commercial insurance where I've worked
Yep.
and I'm paid into it, and it's like I can get top of the line. And
Yes.
then now, like with me not working and being on Medicare and Medicaid, and it's like they'll cover it, but like not the best of the best, but like they'll cover something to get you up and
Exactly.
moving. So,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for my prosthetic company to like really have fought to get me what I need.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean that's the good part, but still, I think that it definitely has improved. Obviously, I think it has improved from like when I was little. It's just now
Yeah.
the process of it.
Yeah. I've always thought about like what that pressure would feel like. And like if you have to worry about, any sores from wearing them too long or like what's like to make sure that they work correctly and that you don't hurt something. How does that go?
So I mean, it really all depends on the person.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say sores I get, but like like that chafing, like if you wore something for too long or
Oh
it
yeah.
leans against,
Yep.
um, that's what I'll get from time to time, and I think that's what bothers me. And then obviously I have back pain because I'm
Mm.
missing both of my legs above the knee, so a lot of it is all on my hips,
Oh wow,
and
yeah.
moving my hips. So
That's gotta be a load then for
yeah.
sure. So do you have to like kind of really be careful or watch how things are feeling and take breaks, if you need to, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I have my wheelchair as well, so like in between, like just like slowly. Now we've just been kind of like slowly like getting up and like
mm,
walking around the kitchen or like doing something small, like a small task, until
yeah,
I feel more comfortable, and I'm more comfortable to do more and get back to walking like I used to without anything.
yeah, that makes sense. But I know that dynamic probably has to be a little bit tricky at times, figuring out, like what tools to use, what technology to help you with
Mhm.
at that day or at that time. So yeah, that's definitely get what you're saying there. But I was curious a little bit more about what it's been like being, a mom with a disability and how that's been so far. I'm sure it's, overall been really great to have a little one and everything. But just if you want to share kind of an overview of what that experience has been like for you.
It's I am a single mom too, so
Yeah,
I think it's another layer on it.
true,
But
right.
I mean, it has its ups and downs. Like, as anything, I think being a parent in general, how you have your ups and downs. I think a lot it becomes challenging just with different like milestones. Like I was talking to another friend of
Mhm.
mine with a disability, and we're like, when they hit different milestones, it was like before she was just like laying in the bed and we had to figure out bassinet. Now and then it's like when she started crawling and crawling, it's like, okay, what can we do to be able to pick her up, to lift her? And now
Right.
she's running, walking. So it's like luckily I'm good because she'll like walk alongside the wheelchair and like hold
Yeah.
on to the chair. But it's like, okay, like you have to hold on to mommy, and like figuring out different techniques on like how it works. Like sometimes I just have her push the stroller because I'm like, I
Mhm.
know that's
Yeah.
gonna keep you right here with me. So I
Right.
think
Right.
this, yeah, just figuring out um the little small things and little
Yeah.
small milestones.
Yeah. And that's so good though that you're like channeling that, child energy to kind of help,
Yes,
help her be with you more. And yeah.
yes.
What are your thoughts on like, having a daughter grow up around, someone with a disability, obviously, like, do you think that will kind of make a bigger impact on like her empathy level and like how she sort of sees society with disability people or with people with disabilities in it? Do you think that's gonna like kind of help, help her as she grows and everything?
I think so. I mean, I already see it now. Like we went to a
Yeah.
disability pride event a couple months ago, and
Oh,
like
nice.
that was her first time seeing like a couple of my friends. Okay. Oh, okay. So, it
You
was my
liked that
first.
event, didn't you?
It was her first time seeing
Yeah.
other people with disabilities. I mean, and it's the disability pride, so it's like people in power chairs, people in walkers, and she was like
Combination.
very welcoming. Like she wanted to touch the power chairs. She
Mm,
like she so I think like to me that made me feel good because like you want to explore, you want to you be around. I wasn't like you were afraid to bring around somebody in
right.
a chair. So that was nice.
I think that
um
makes such a difference.
yeah, so I mean that definitely um made a difference. And I mean, I also think too, like she's very resilient now because she's so helpful already. Like
Yeah.
she'll see me get something, or like she'll watch me do something, and like
Mhm.
she'll do it after me. And so like I'm like
Right.
hoping that continues, so that like you become more. You don't want her to be fully independent because I always want her to lean on me, but like you
Right.
know
Right.
for her to really like gain that independence herself.
Right, and it just seems like they in a lot of ways that helps at such a young age. They absorb everything. Like I have a nephew that, he's 4 years old, so I've kinda seen him growing through, all these different stages already, but, like, they learn so much at such a young age that I just feel like that whole empathy factor is just gonna make it where, it's they just treat everybody as humans, and I think that's what so many of us with disabilities, that's all we really want or need, right? Like, to be like, because we are humans pretty much like everybody else, so, yeah.
I think it's interesting you say that because it's like even now when we go to like
Yeah.
the play things, and it's like the kids see the wheelchair and they like want to see the wheelchair, and I find like now I'm like educating the parent too because they're like first the parents like no, it's okay, don't go over there, like it's okay, it's don't touch that, don't I'm like no, let them explore because I
Right,
don't want Jada to be in an area like I don't want her to grow up in school where no kid wants to talk to her because your parent already told you that you can't talk to her mom, or like I'm like no, like let's cut it now.
right, hey, and so much of that is just like a conversation, like you said, like
Let them like no, like even today I ran into a grandparent that was with his
yeah,
granddaughter, and he said, oh, she has a wheelchair, and the little girl's like, well, I don't have a wheelchair, and he's like, no, and then he took the time to explain to her, and I'm like, great, that is great, like that
yeah,
is great, like because you just open up a discussion, which we don't have to have a whole discussion on how it happened, but like for them to know the basics
right,
and to
right,
know that I'm outside living life like everyone else, and there's no need to feel sad or sorry, you know, or anything like that.
right. No, I love that, that's such a great thing to see, when there are some, like, awareness conversations going on like that, just, like, daily life, basically, so that's really great, Yeah, and then just like, the kids to see that, I think it's just gonna make a really big difference just in the future, too. But I did wanna ask you a little bit about, like, your experience with ableism or anything like that, or, like, assumptions on your disability. Have you navigated those, like, in a particular way over time, or what's that been like?
Uh, you know, honestly, I feel like I've experienced that like more so adult life than like growing up. Which is very interesting. Like I didn't get bullied. I didn't have like everyone was very inclusive. I mean, my school district did a really good job of like we had like an assembly and like you were able to learn about different disabilities. And
Mhm.
when we went to different museums, like it was very inclusive.
Okay.
Um, so I think that part was
And
fine.
your teachers and everything were good with
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
everybody was good. I think it's more so now like the adult life that just running into like people that think that you can't do it. Like even like with me being a parent, they're like, "Oh, that's your daughter," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my daughter."
And they seem, like, surprised by that or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like so. Yeah, it's just very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like there's been, so many things that just day to day when you're in public getting, you know, like getting people that look at you a certain way or ask questions that are kind of like boundary crossing, and it's just like, yeah, it can feel pretty invasive, I think, at times too, and then knowing that there's just all those assumptions and negative stigma surrounding all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it is the negative assumption of them just thinking that you can't do it
Yeah,
or that you
yeah,
shouldn't be doing it. But that's not the case. Like, that's definitely not the case at all.
right, right.
So I think you know what, I think that's what I try to do in like my TikTok and everything. Like, I'm just trying to like change, like, just for someone to see someone with a disability like living life.
Hmm.
Like that's all it is. It's just like, and to me, it's nice because I can just take like a flashback of like the day and like the
Yeah,
how life in general with Jada. But it's just I don't know. I think just definitely just showing people that there are everyday people and you don't have to be a
right,
celebrity, a model, just
right.
everyday people being a mom
Just
and living
living
life.
life, right? Yeah, exactly. So is that kind of your approach to social media then, kind of showing just like a glimpse into the daily experiences you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think between that and just a glimpse of me, like I'm crazy, like I'm wild. Like it's just like I like to enjoy life. I like to live
Yeah,
life to the fullest. I mean, that's all growing up. That's how it's always been. So I mean, that's just the kind of path I want to continue.
yeah, yeah. I totally get that. That's such a great way to approach it, I think. But like, what are some examples of things like you like to just get out and do just for fun because you love it?
I haven't something I'm tackling now, but I haven't really traveled as much with Jada. But I mean, I mean, I like traveling out of state, so we haven't
Yeah.
done an out of state trip yet, really. Like by ourselves. But I mean,
Mhm.
I think just like we love to go to this, like love to go to the city. I love anything by like water. We've been to the
Yeah,
beach a lot. I love the beach, but I've never been to the beach like really before having
yeah.
my daughter, and now we're at the beach all summer.
Wow, that sounds nice.
So yeah, I mean, I just anything to be outside.
Yeah.
We're always outside.
What are the beaches like that you've been around, like with like wheelchair access and things like that?
So they say it's better. The one time I did experience it, it was horrible. I mean, like the beach chair, like somebody had to push me, and I'm like, all right, that doesn't work for like, if I want to go with Jada.
Yeah,
But like I'm able, like they have like the tarp, so I was able to like go midway with her, and like, we'll place ourselves like somewhere in the sand. So it's not totally bad because I'm able to be on the like in the sand.
yeah,
And it's very accessible to get in there.
yeah.
And even the boardwalks are nice too. So we're usually just walking the boardwalk.
Those are nice, yeah. Yeah, I've been on a few of those. That's really cool to be that close to the water, but, like, actually navigating onto the beach and everything that's a whole other thing with the sand and all that, so
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like wheelchairs that you can
yeah,
that are powered yourself, but like the ones that I made, like they have it where you have to do it
I have to
yourself.
basically handle it, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's a little tough. As far as, like, traveling though and everything, was that something you did before you had your daughter, or is it something you're just looking into now?
Something I'm into now. I mean,
Yeah,
definitely having my daughter's definitely
yeah,
opened my horizons up. Because usually like I'll always be in the city,
mhm,
always in the city, always like it's somebody's rooftop or like just relaxing somewhere.
yeah,
But yeah, I think now I'm just more like exploring, just
yeah,
checking out different museums, and it's interesting to see the accessibility within like some like we went to Children's Museum and everything was like accessible. I
Isn't
love.
that great when you find a place like that?
It was amazing. Like it was
Yeah.
absolutely like you were able to roll into everything with her. Like it was great. Like it was just that was like the best. Where we did say we have to go back. And
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those places that you find that are that like easy to use and enjoyable. It's like you want to just keep going back for more.
yeah, because yeah, definitely
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. As far as like how you would travel though, do you have like a vehicle that's sort of equipped for you to use, or is that something that you have kind of looked into?
So I mean, of course, I've looked into it. I don't have my license
Yeah,
yet. I'm a little scared to drive.
yeah,
So right now, I mean, I'm in New York, so it's like everything's really accessible when it comes to like public transportation, which is nice, and I can get around either by like train.
yeah,
Um, so I've just kind of been going that route.
yeah. That makes total sense. And you mentioned a train. Is that like just like within the city, like a subway type thing, or
So I mean, both. We have the
okay?
subways, and then we have like a regular like trains that like take us like on Long Island.
How are those like as far as accessibility? Like, do they have a lift, or how do
So
you use
I've been to other
them?
areas, and it's been a lot better than ours. They have a
Yeah,
ramp that like the conductor has to like put out against the gap. Some of them, some stations are better than others, where I could do it myself. Although I wouldn't do it now. Like if I was by myself, I would do it. I wouldn't do it with Jada. Um, and then some you just need like the gaps are just crazy, crazy gaps. But most parts, like
definitely.
the conductors are very nice, and they're like willing to help. Like get you on and
Yeah,
not. But then the other part is like not all the stops are accessible. And not all the stations have elevators or working elevators like that.
right. You're right. That's a whole other thing is elevator maintenance, I think. Have you ever used any of those little like lifts though that like lift you up into like the train or maybe a bus even? Like have you used anything like that?
So when I take Amtrak, they have like the little lifts that they the old like the old school lifts that they lift you up. And then like, but other than that, like all of our buses have ramps that are very like you roll right in. Um, so it's not like the old way of like having to go through the back, which is nice.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've had some at times that feel pretty unstable. And I actually one dropped my power chair once too. So I've just been like, I don't trust any of them anymore.
And you know, and that's how it is with Amtrak. And I really want to go to Philadelphia with my daughter, and I don't want to take the bus.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, we'll do Amtrak or like DC, and I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna work with us getting up on the
Oh,
ramp, but
yeah, yeah. And what does that look like if it's just you and her, like getting into a bus or a train? Like, is that do like the drivers try to help you kind of with her as you're getting in, or what does that look like?
yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, I know I have kind of like managed it, like learned to manage it myself with her.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, the conductors and the drivers are all like very welcoming.
that's awesome. I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear, because sometimes it's like there's people just sort of watching you or like just waiting
yeah. I mean,
for,
don't get me wrong. Like I've had one in the city. He looked at me and he was like, I guess he thought I needed help to get on the bus, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, just you move. Like I got this.
Just
Like
give me a second. Let me,
yeah, like.
yeah,
And then when
yeah,
I did it, he was like, "Oh wow, you have a good, you know what you're doing."
mm.
I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I wouldn't be going somewhere if I didn't know what I was doing." Like,
Right,
yes,
exactly. And that's the other thing too, right? Like they assume that you don't know what works or that you can't, make it like
and
you're making your own decisions.
I
Yeah,
always tell people, I'm like, I wouldn't go somewhere if
it's a
I knew I
good
couldn't
point.
do it.
Yeah,
I said, anybody, you have like, unless it's a dire situation, you would not go somewhere. Any person with a disability wouldn't go somewhere and put
exactly.
themselves in a situation that they wouldn't want to be in.
Yep, I agree. I agree. And it's just like, you're gonna do stuff and like you're the expert of your own, you've grown up with your own disability, your own experience. And it's like, we're so good, I think, at learning to adapt to all kinds of stuff, just like popping up all the time with disability. And it's like we know what we're doing. Like that trust factor is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like over the years, as far as like mental health type things, is there any examples or anything you've run into where, you needed to find something to help you through, or like how do you approach this mental health, I guess, in general?
I mean, I 100% will tell everybody they need therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy was a lifesaver for me. I mean, I didn't get into therapy until like having like something traumatic happen. But like, I mean, I think well, everyone with disability should have some type of
Yeah.
therapy. I think um, that has been like a great resource for me to actually know what to do. I mean, I did have
Yeah.
a moment where I did, everybody feels low. I did have to check myself in, and I
Yeah.
will say that there's not enough like adequate like what to do when somebody with a disability comes in, because they couldn't even put me like in the correct part of the hospital because they felt fearful of the chair and like it affecting someone else, so I
And they
ended up
have
having
no
to
way,
go.
like they don't know how to handle it or
Yeah, they
make it work. Yeah.
didn't know how to handle it.
And that happens everywhere in the medical field, I think. It's like It doesn't matter if it's the ER or like just a general
And
office that's
we get tossed in like they just put me in regular medical, like the medical part of
mhm.
the floor. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not here
Yeah.
for medical. Like there's nothing
Right, right.
medically wrong with me at this moment.
Right, right. And I mean, like that's something that other people don't have to deal with, right? Like they can just say go where they need and they put them right there. But for
Yep.
us, it's like there's that whole layer of, how are we going to make it accessible? So yeah, and like I was in the ICU for a little bit, and it was like no one had ever seen anybody in a power chair
And
before, and like they don't know how to lift you or turn you or move, or anything. And it's just like
yeah.
if there was a little bit of training, it would be nice.
I mean, even when I had my daughter, I mean, that whole was crazy. But
Oh man,
if,
yeah.
even when I had my daughter, and I remember I went into the hospital, I was getting induced, and the CNA came in and she was like, "No, you can't transfer yourself." She's like, "You need to get a Hoyer lift." And I'm like, "I've never used a Hoyer lift a day in my life. I'm not going to use a Hoyer lift now when I can transfer over. If you want to
Exactly.
spot me, you can spot me, but I don't need one." And so I guess she turned around, and by the time she turned around, I was already like in the bed, and she's like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Oh, she's in the bed. She's in the bed." And I'm like, "No, why do you just assume that I need a Hoyer lift
Right.
without like asking me like
And
my
then
needs?"
and then don't like act shocked when you're
Yeah,
able to transfer.
yeah.
Like that's so weird.
So
So
yeah.
how are the doctors like everything in general with like your, pregnancy and labor and everything? Like were most of them pretty good with that?
So I had an amazing OB. Like my
Yeah.
thing is like I do have a heart condition.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's fine. Everything's perfect with that. And then like I'm just missing my legs, but that's all it is.
Yeah.
But they put me in high risk as a high risk patient. There was nothing really high risk wrong with me. Um, which is nice though, because I got the special treatment like throughout the whole pregnancy, which was nice. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when it came to like the high risk doctor, he just wasn't really concerned about like my health or anything. He's just like, well, how are you going to do this by yourself? How are you going to do this? Who's going to be there to help you? And I'm like, okay, these are questions
Oh.
that like a social worker or somebody else is supposed to be figuring out, not you. You're here medically.
Right,
So it was a
like do
little,
your part of the job, but like let other people do theirs.
yeah, it was a little bit of a thought, but like my OB was excellent. Like she
Mhm.
was my biggest advocate, like all the way down the line. And mind you, I'd never like no one. It wasn't like she was recommended to me. Like I
Yeah.
just, it was a random pair, and
Yeah.
it just was a good pair. So like that was she was very much like my advocate and like very much there for me like throughout the whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
Um, and I think everyone else was kind of like they were, and so was my heart doctor. Everybody else was kind of like on board. It was just that
Yeah.
one doctor that just
Just couldn't
first
quite
told me that he's
understand.
worked with many patients like me, but then
Isn't that such like a I don't know, that kind of comment really is just really irritating.
yeah, because I'm like, no, you haven't worked with a lot of people like me,
I
especially if that's your
mean,
approach.
and like each person is their own
Uh,
experience. It's like how can you group everything that way?
yes.
Or it's like even like some random person you're talking to, they're like, yeah, I had, I saw somebody in a wheelchair today, or like I
Yeah.
know someone in my family that hasn't. You're like, no, like that's why are you comparing me to somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's so great though that you had, like you almost kind of lucked into a lot of the doctors that were good, and that's honestly, I wish that would happen more often.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously get like even when I did my scans, you get
Yeah.
like the text that were, how did this happen? And like they really want to
Are
know
you?
like
Oh man,
the
yeah.
whole 9 yards of like how you lost your legs. And I think the biggest thing is that everybody thinks that they lose their legs because of diabetes, and they're
Oh
like
wow.
diabetes, and I'm like, no.
You're like, no, it's not.
Like,
Yeah.
and then you're explaining, and she's like, oh, and then it's like you said, they're like, oh, well, so and so in my family, and I'm like, no, like, don't compare me to them.
No, yeah, definitely. Have you like run into anyone that they kind of changed their opinion, or like could you tell there was like a transition maybe in their thinking after you visited with them?
Yeah, I pretty everyone, like pretty much everybody.
Yeah,
Once
yeah,
once I like say it, and they're like, oh, like they're like they realize like,
yeah.
oh, like that shouldn't have been my approach. Like,
Right, right. And then it's like almost they're amazed when you kind of have like a regular like adult conversation back and
mhm,
forth with them, and you're like, once they realize you're capable of that, then things get
it
better.
changed. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just so crazy, what it takes to. I don't know. It's like if it's
To
really not that
convince, it's
hard.
like a convincing of them.
It is. It is. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. But like how about just like during your pregnancy journey, just like do's and don'ts? Did you find things that really helped a lot with being someone who's using a wheelchair as well, or what was that kind of journey like?
Honestly, I would, my biggest thing was like, I think I was so nervous about being a mom with a disability
Yeah.
that like I turned to other people with disabilities, and then like some people scared me, like with their horror stories about
Ooh.
CPS and like Child Protective Services and things like that.
Oh wow.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think just taking everything with a grain of salt, and like you can get advice from somebody else and another mom with a disability, but like you
Yeah.
won't know until you're actually like you're in it. That's
Right.
just, you won't know until you in it. So many people have told me so many different things, and like they've kind of worked for me, and they kind of not
Yeah.
worked. So I think just taking everything with a grain of salt.
Right. Right. And have you
Crossing
gotten a
that
lot
needle.
of like unsolicited advice, like people just like throwing things at you to try? Yeah.
I mean, even now, like we were on the bus yesterday,
Mhm.
and this lady, Jada, was crying and a little feisty, but she was tired. And this lady's like, she's hungry, she's tired, she needs something to eat. Pat her back, and I'm like,
You're
oh,
like, what are you
this is. I
doing?
said, would you do this to an able-bodied person?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right. So like, did you actually ask her that? Like, what
Yeah,
was
I
the
did, and she was like. She just looked at me, and the bus driver was like, "Thank you for saying something," because like she would have went on and on. I'm like, "Yeah," she was getting ready to go on and on.
right? And that's the other thing too, like about being adults with a disability. It's like I'm gonna make the decisions that are
Nobody else,
right, and
right?
yeah, yeah. So I'm really glad to hope that like conversations like that are happening because there's so many people online even that try to throw out like these are the things you need to do to handle it. And you're like, well, like
Yeah,
if I didn't ask for it, why are you telling me this? Yeah, and even advice that you do ask for, like you said, you don't have to just
take
think
everything.
everything is going to apply to you either. So yeah, it's a challenge, I think. But like social media wise, have you gotten comments that were like weird about that kind of thing or telling you things to do or
Just telling me what to do, or like I
yeah.
think when I posted my first video of like me pushing my daughter like
Oh
in the
yeah.
street. It went crazy because everyone's like, "What are you doing in the street? Who let you have a kid?" And I'm like,
Who
"What?"
let you have wow.
It just was like some of like the comments and the things. I'm like, "What? Like, why are you saying this to me? Like,
Right.
why?"
Right. And
Um,
that's I mean, yeah, and like that's one of the drawbacks, I guess, of sharing stuff. But yeah.
You're gonna get, and you can't take all those like, for I like to read through them. I don't, they don't affect me, but I like to read
Yeah.
through them because I'm just like, what goes through your head, like, and I'll
It's almost like
challenge
an
you.
entertainment factor too in a
Yeah, like
way.
I'll challenge you. The
Yeah.
lady, one girl was like, "Why don't you just unfold her legs?" And I'm like, "Well, if I had legs, I would unfold them." And they're like, "That's a good comeback." I'm like, "No, but really, like, if I had legs, I would unfold them."
Exactly.
I'm like, you made a comment without actually looking at the video, because if you actually looked at the video, you would see that
If you
I have
actually
no
watched
legs.
it, yeah. Yep. That's the thing too, is like they just can't wait to say something.
Hmm.
Yeah. What about the other way, like in the positive side? Like if you had maybe anybody that's seen your comment that or content that's like that really helped me or that made a difference or anything.
I've seen so many, like there have been so many positive comments, and I
Mhm.
think I try to answer everybody. I really do try to answer everyone. It's so hard. But like I think that's what pushes me on, and I think that's what I was saying. Like if I get one or two people that I could just like make a difference and like show them that like you can live life normally if you don't have a car, if you have limited resources, there are things you can do that and still live a fulfilling life.
That's the thing too, I think is the like the quality of life, for like so many of us with disabilities, like that means everything,
Hmm.
to be able to do that. Yeah, those that's really good, like, I think advice for if we're taking advice, for people to just, like, realize that it's okay to live, like, your life, and if it fits you and you are enjoying everything, then, that's great. You don't have to compare, to somebody else that maybe can do certain things you can't, so, yeah. Yeah, that means a lot. And I guess I don't wanna take too much of your time, but, I did wanna visit with you a little bit about your experience with, like, Medicaid, Medicare, and what that was like and how you kinda navigated that area.
I mean, so since well, I lost my job when I was pregnant. So that was a complete shift for me from going through my commercial insurance, and like I've had Medicare, Medicaid, like high school, like not high school, but more so college. So like I
Yeah.
was used to it, and then like I became an adult, I got a job, and I was on commercial insurance, and I think that was great getting all the service with my wheelchair. I mean, and you just see the difference. Like I got my wheelchair 1, 2, 3 with the commercial insurance one,
Yep.
no issues, nothing that they like denied. It was great. And I think like the Medicare, Medicaid right now, it's like it's something I'm in another documentary and we're trying to fight for, is that like they have such strict rules that are like affecting other insurance. They're starting to affect other insurance companies. Um, and it just downsides like the quality of life for people, because it's like you're limiting me. I think some have it's one prosthetic per lifetime, or and
Wow.
it just doesn't make sense.
No,
None
it
of the stuff,
doesn't.
the wheelchair every 5 years, doesn't make
That makes no
sense.
sense either. Yeah.
Because if I lose weight, if I lose a tremendous amount of weight, or something within my disability changes, like it needs to be adjusted.
That should be like an as needed thing, right? Like as
Yeah.
something happens, yeah. Yeah, and like maybe there's wheelchair repairs that are made more available, like for me, I think once a year I can get, maintenance stuff done. It's like, well, what if something breaks like right now? So it's yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's
It
it's
is
definitely a challenge. I mean, I even think like again, with commercial insurance, like everything is fine with like, so I think the newest thing I saw was like for birth control. You can't like with my Medicaid, like Medicare, Medicaid, like the plan that I have, they don't cover any kind of birth control.
Really
Or it's like a certain birth control that they cover. Like
very
they will cover.
specific.
They'll just automatically deny it. So I'm like, what are you just thinking that someone on Medicare, Medicaid isn't gonna have like like again, like it's the thought process
Right.
behind it.
Right. And it's almost like who's making these policies to start with, you know, like
Mhm.
is there anyone with a disability that's able to come to the table and say, well, why are we doing it this way? Can we
Yep.
adjust it? You know, and so that's yeah, you're right. Like going into that transitioning to Medicare, Medicaid is just like it's exhausting.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that's the fight we're in, right? So like and I think like, you know, you going into social work and trying to bring that, you know, into that space and trying to help people navigate that is like it's so needed. There's so many people that I've talked to that, you know, and then myself too, like I have no idea hardly how to navigate between Medicaid, Medicare, what each one provides and how to balance that, you know.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to learn.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's almost like you need a degree just in their
Mhm.
policies to know what to even try. So yeah, but it's yeah, it's been really great to get your, you know, your thoughts and experience and share a little bit of your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great. And if anyone wants to follow you, is Instagram kind of where you want them to go, or is there TikTok as well you mentioned?
Yeah, so I'm right now I'm between Instagram and TikTok.
Mhm.
So my Instagram is Bryanna Bryanna Copes Copes. So yeah, like Instagram. And then I'm also on TikTok
Mhm.
um as well, which I never know my TikTok name. Oh, it's my first name, period, my last name. So it's
Oh, okay.
Bryanna, period, Copeland.
Awesome. That sounds good. I'm like you. I'm kind of on two or three platforms, and I'm just like I
I,
can't like I can't do like Twitter
I
and
wish
Blue
it could be
Sky and
universal, but
just bundle everything under one name.
yeah.
Yeah.